Allow yourself to be proud of your own work. One of those things where it feels easier said than done. You know, if you're a creator on YouTube or you're a creator of something in general, maybe it's music or, making movies, home gardening, whatever it is you do, it can be a challenge at times to be proud of yourself for the work you've done. Especially when the result of your output is not living up to the expectation you've set for yourself and did not turn out the way you wanted it to turn out. It's challenging because you see the imperfections in the video you made, the song you created, the art you drew. It can look like they're glaring issues staring at you in the face. It can be so uncomfortable to allow yourself to say, I'm proud that I made that. It's hard to say if this falls into imposter syndrome. We don't allow our identities to catch up with the reality of the actions we're taking. You could be making art a long time before you ever consider yourself an artist. You can be playing guitar for a long time before you ever consider yourself a guitarist. I didn't mean to make that intentionally rhyme. I liked how it sounded though. It can take a while before you feel like you are the thing that you do. But you're so much more than that anyway. Your whole identity isn't tied up into what you do. Who you are is really just who you are. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. You don't need to tell yourself you're an artist, you're a guitarist, you're a songwriter, you're a YouTuber. You don't need to tell yourself any of those things. You can just say, I am me. You can say your name. For me, I am Zen. And that's enough. And it's difficult when you look at the work you've done and you want it to be so much more than it is. You want it to have landed somewhere impactful. You wanted it to be something that other people feel emotion from or pulls them in somehow or does something for them. Or more importantly, does something for you. Because that's probably why you made it in the first place. There's an art to making things. Whatever it is that they are. But there's also an art to accepting that which you made and being proud of it. And that skill set doesn't come as easily as you think it would, as you might hope it would. And perhaps it's one of the most important skill sets we can develop and learn because it allows us to create more. It doesn't mean that we can't see the flaws in our own art, in our own creation anymore. all it's allowing us to do is just to be happy for having created something, for putting something out into the world, even in its imperfection. Even though it doesn't live up to the ideal vision inside of our minds, it's still there, existing in the world now. Maybe not perfectly communicating the message we wanted to communicate, but perhaps someone was able to piece it together. And if the impact was one person or no one, you still went through the act of making the thing, creating that which is now existing in reality, which didn't exist before. That alone is something to be proud of. You made something. Even if the work was shoddy, even if the work wasn't your best work, even if the work could have been so much better, still made it. You still put the bare minimum of work in to make it exist. Therefore, there's reason to be happy that it does exist. And of course, you could put a lot more effort into another piece of art or another creation of yours, and you could be more proud of that work than others. And that's okay too. But you don't need to hate work you've done in the past. You don't need to be ashamed of it. It was necessary to get you to where you are today. At whatever skill set you're at, whatever level you're at, those first pieces were necessary. They were stepping stones. Another brick laid on the path that you are building and walking down. And while one brick is not a lot in a never-ending path, it's still necessary to build that path. It's a stepping stone, even in its imperfection, you can be proud of, because it makes up the larger body of your work. Even though that stone is cracked, chipped, dirty, more than just rough around the edges, it's part of the path. And there's reason to be happy that stone's there. So if this video is supposed to land on anything important, there is anything here to really say, it's allow yourself to be proud of your work, even when it's imperfect.